thank you all for coming. And yes, the key to a perfect driving record is to walk or ride your bike everywhere. Yeah. Amen. So, okay, I am going to start with a poem that's an allegory for male sexuality in all its horror and glory. Beware of the drubby that wanders the cornfields at night, steals the souls of sleepers, and drags them back to a time where men ate raw meat and gnawed on dirt-covered taters, tore at women with a brute fang, proof of a love that a man can feel. Jim, why'd you do that evil deal out in the woods where only the frogs heard poor Delilah cry? Hey Jim, can you tell me why? For that devil takes you, casts you back upon the wheel where Legbra presides over the cycle of reason to purge your ordeal. And the lesson of transformations where I sat on the wet nurse's lap. She sang songs about the old times in that far-off land where cracked hands beat spells upon drums and how to sell your soul to the drubby out on Highway 61. When he taps you on the shoulder, take the deal, don't look back, and the grimoire will reveal its secrets even to those who can't understand. But it was dropping hail when I came to the crossroads of my life, down in Beauregard, Mississippi, out on Route 49. So I'm going through the thistle patch, a contract in my hand, drew a circle in the cornfield where they go and see the drubby man. Hey Jim, while you lay down your plow. Hey Jim, left your woman to fend for the sow. Jimbo, gone to revel in the city swell, but stopped to steal peaches and asleep in the hay. They'll find you, Jimbo, find you one day. But tonight, you'll hop a freight train and dream of new lands where money and women come to a man with the strength of dreams and the mind to foretell. But there'll be no more wishes from the drubby's secret well. And this was the prophecy that the angel foretold. A mannish boy would be born on the eve Delilah went cold. I'm going to read a poem called Bergen in the Rye. When the fog settles on the field, as the fourth winds slow, mice will scratch patterns on church floorboards. And the moth that molders the parson's cowl will push the sow down deep into the sty, where on the day the neighbors can no longer plan their means to the cycles of the moon. But a man can lean on the Bible, smoking nightshade from a cob bowl, so he can stand minister over the mandrake as Solomon had mastery over the gin, until his children catch St. Anthony's fire and misbirths plague the pure, running widdershins with eyes glued to the steeple, and the good wife, buried in the yard, was burned for black charisma and blind incantations. Matthew approaches the headstone on the right, departs the stone on the left, bringing with him that damp cold that puts infirm into one's bones. For frost will soon come to those of us who sustain our provender through the mercy of the field. Woo! Thank you. I have a new poetry book that hasn't come out yet. It was supposed to be out this fall, but the publisher keeps pushing it back, and who knows when it's going to come out, or if, who knows. It's on a bigger publisher, yay for me, but still, poetry is a very low priority for publishers who actually make money. So
Yeah. So we'll see. My fate is in the balance right now. Yeah. Thank you. Thanks. I believe they love it, but they're like, we got to make sure we make money. So.
Who's gonna buy it?
Yeah, who's gonna buy the darn thing?
I'll buy it.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Awesome. I got one sale. I'll tell them that. Anyway, 3, yeah. Amen. Amen to that. I could use it. The book is going to be called Tender in the Age of Fury, and this is the second poem in it, and it's a long poem. It's going to take up half my set, and you guys can heckle me or leave or whatever. It's too boring. I don't care.
I'm just kidding. Whoa!
Anyway, I'd like to dedicate the poem to Pope Francis and the original Christians. Yeah, amen. Pope Francis. Yeah, here's to Pope Francis and the original Christians who were dangerous people that they threw to the lions. And I'd like to dedicate it also to the Canadian poet Nick Beat for the day he stood up in front of the entire congregation to confront the hypocritical priest, single-handedly reclaiming the last vestiges of rock and roll.
Yeah!
So I call this poem The Apocalypse of Weeks. In the shadows of my sanity, where neurons fire static and the mystical storm is wet with distortions, the sun had just set on the final millennium. Oh, daughter of Irma, secret muse of my deepest cuts, destroy me with your grace. Can you see the tear that lies not beyond our vision, but in the space where the eye connects to the brain? It is the tear that exists on the bridge between dreams and insanity, where dumb messengers walk in the field, wolf-heart psychics go for strolls, and the demented meet their phantoms. In this place, the shadowy veil is pushed aside, not the veil that tickled your hand as you touched a piece of the cross, the crucified Christ, but that of a lower curtain, home to apparitions that speak to you as you hurriedly walk past darkened cemeteries. And it was out of this tear in my waking consciousness where emerged a chrome-shod stallion, its coat as black as our eyes. Do not lend it your money, for on its back rides the ghost of greed and shallow dealings. For I have seen the ghastly rider, the one who is marked by a swarm of hummingbirds as he pursed his lips. His caste is uncommon. He is the patron of criminals and men who steal souls and abandoned ethics in business. He dismounted and slowly walked through the streets that were aligned to the astral procession of the luminaries and stood before the great seal, its copper corrupted in green, though its strong arm bore a polished shield. On the edge of the cityscape, with outstretched arms before the ocean, he summoned his minions, and out of the sea they came, the masters of all they envisioned, where I stood on the beach like an urchin in envy as they paraded their Nubian queens. And it was on that corner where I could see that my only option was to accept their number of weeks, a counter to track my movements as they provided for my every need. Spirits on the left of me, forces on the right. I looked to heaven where reality cracked, and the mystic host, the Chayot, returned running, and those of a higher form kissed my lips, causing them to tingle, as the Ophanim had forsaken, circling the fallen buildings, and the Elohim issued their warning. There will come to you a man with one eye. He will show you water that you cannot drink, and fire that will not burn. A warning to others. He travels fast as the speed of light, and can appear in many places at once, and in as many forms, speaking all the languages, reversing the edict of Babel. He will survive the flood. Fire and brimstone shall not harm him, for he carries with him a number, an ISP tattooed on his chest. I saw the shallow rider, marksman of the Holocaust, impervious to rain as he stood above us on the knoll, making his presence known, and the believers bowed to him in worship. And in the writer's hand he carried a well-worn tome, marked with the iniquities of many generations, and the book was sealed with 12 locks. The writer broke the first 4 locks, releasing dust that smelled of sweet roses. He cracked the 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th locks. Then came the smell of burnt sugar. Upon the breaking of the 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th locks, I could smell the revolting stench of all the world's rot and feces. The writer opened the book, and within its pages I paid witness to the horrors of many sleepless nights, wandering through foreign landscapes of concrete and asphalt, where the people spoke in whispers and hisses. Oh, daughter of Irma, it is you who can save me, taking my hand and leading me to righteous lands. Do not lead me to the madness of these streets where I am tracked by their banks and marked with their ID and ISP number of weeks. Oh, daughter of Irma, if you ever remember that you once loved me, you'll find me in the ocean, drowning alone to the world and peed on by the dogs of territory. But know this, I will die unmarked and free. Because it used to be the happiest time writing poetry as the pristine daughter of November lay naked next to me in her bed. She had been perfect, and for the first time in many years I had achieved mental peace. But the tyrants of fortune would not let me rest, for these were the days when they did not bury the dead, but held their souls in a virtual stasis. O daughter of Irma, tender in your sleep, out of the sky came a white dove with a pine sprig balanced in its beak. It circled above us where we sat amongst the financiers of sickness, where the painted slut of September distracted us with her hypnotic ways, feeding us numbing hallucination, leaving us cursed with reality. But then there appeared upon the knoll a lone sheep who turned to face the crowds, and the sheep said, "Hey! While you were shopping, these men of means took control of your mind. They shaved our wool to make mufflers for their wives, leaving us cold in a seemingly endless winter. Push down those senators, march upon that banker. Will there be a place for us in their heaven? We'd certainly make room for them in our hell. Lash marks upon my shoulders as I ring the church bell." Spurred on by the sheep's words, a young man stood from the crowds to confront the shallow writer, issuing the challenge of the righteous. And the young man said, "On the Senate floor, I will crush them to their fall, oh the night. Rendezvous at the 5th column on the eve Napoleon rides. Jesus called them shepherds, though God weeps for the sheep. Don't let righteous men shave you. Take cannon to subway and streets. Shout, shout. Holler to the masses, or is your throat too numb to yell? Stand up if you feel cheated. Topple the overlords of wealth. Full tilt and spitting fire. In my hand, the new Bible. Sound out the custom gospel delivered with a rifle. On the Senate floor, I will crush them, overturn their flank. Take back the suzerainty I have given with my vote. I will reclaim. Woe to them in the smoke-darkened sky. For now the people will be the drainer. On the eve Napoleon rides. Thank you.
Yeah.
Copernicus shall cast no shadow. The apocalypse of weeks. Smash the walls of prisons. Sharpen the guillotine. Revolt, revolt before they take control of your food. Starve you into submission. Numb your mind with glass tubes. We continually follow your pointed finger, though you have moved 1,000 times, using fables as weapons, so black spots move about our eyes. Hey, where are we in the camp, in the tent by the fire? Put the priest on the block and chain the black friar. Punish those who have taken from you. There is no nutrients in what you eat. The CIA cannot stop us. Live hard and die free. Drive the crest to cavalry. Take back the nickel and dime. Arrest the politician on the eve Napoleon rides. 'Cause there was a war on earth, fought with misinformation and taxes, and waged by private firms who owned public administration. But what is not what once was and does not have to be. So filled with the memory of the thinning that exists around the Holy Rood, I prayed to the Lord of hosts and ministering angels.
descended from heaven to whitewash the crowds with sense, infusing them with the ability to discern many things, secrets, and harbingers to days of sweet nectar, peace, and no more need for the Bible trade. A life of Rosh Hashanah for you, Christmas for eternity, Eid Mubarak everyone, and salient blessings for all. For in the age of third helpings, the fat shall fall from the vine, juices of plenty shall flow, and mugs will clash in salutations. Gone will be the days of impoverished dinners and the second helpings of our fathers. I want to be served thrice. Fill my platters with rich foods basted in butter, for in that age the abundance shall drip down my chin. Thank you. That's the second poem of my next book. They need to put the damn thing out. Yeah. Let's see. I'm going to read, sorry about the clicking. I'm going to read something from my poetry book, Pressure to Sing. Oh yeah, the third poem. It's called Take a Trip. Take a trip on a positive notion, a stroll down a highway of 9, ring a bell on a ship in the Arctic, stay awake for days at a time. 4 days we didn't see the sunshine and still the polar winds blew. Lost my virginity under the aurora borealis. Through the window the curtains drew. Upon the terrace of the Leper King, throw a coin to the one-armed man. American money gets you into the Bion. Gas from a pop bottle tops up the tram. On pagan walls and temples of Christ, the whore is more blessed than the virgin. Loved by the concubine, raped by the wife, bled and stoned by children. Take a trip on a positive notion, a stroll down a highway of 9. Live life with reaching vision, 6 years ahead of your time. Seen sentience in utero, look, there on the sonogram, the will to survive. Took a walk on a salmon run, Russian church, Aleutian sky. Branded a coffer who knelt in a mosque, a goy wore a yarmulke in shul. Lived to see my words in print the day they kicked me out of school. And secret courtyards over Templar graves, black Madonnas adorn the name. Paso del Rio, Alamo Way. Strap for cash in the flats of LA. Take a trip on a positive notion, a stroll down the highway of 9. Embark on the endless journey, rushing past the speed limit sign. Touch the flesh of nations, travel first class, climbed a war-torn pyramid, brought a baby on my back, trespass on top secret soil, felt that the land should be free, eggnog and stout in the huts of Jamaica. Expatriation from your native country. Take a trip on a positive notion, pat a fox down a highway of 9, learn the secret language of the coyote, stay awake for days at a time. Remember, Curtis? Those bitten with the fringe, they never sleep. Don't tie down your spirit, go on. Live free.